What we needed to focus on is what were they going to gain? Where were we going to have them focus their energies into higher valued processes and enablement? So instead of saying, okay, well, we're going to bring this AI in and this AI is going to do your job, what we talked about was, team, you're going to have more time to focus on validating what the customer needs. And then we talked about we're going to take away the repetitive tasks. This got that engagement and that buy-in from the team members, which is difficult with change management, because instead of focusing on, well, we're outsourcing or we're replacing you with
Yeah.
that AI tool, what we're saying is we're realigning your activities to more thought-provoking and engaging activities that have a greater value. That was really a key
I
point.
think what you just said is huge. The big fear that is out there right now is AI is going to replace everybody,
Right.
which is very emotional. It's very triggering. And you address that head on. If growth occurs, you're going to have more jobs for everybody, not less jobs for everybody.
Right. And more activities. As I mentioned, the AI was 86% correct on our first runs.
Yes.
That 14% needs the interaction of our team. The team, we rather you focus on that 14% and actually checking the AI. You can't just walk into AI and say, hey, I'm going to blindly believe the AI was perfect out of the gate. We need you quality checking the AI. Let the AI do the repetitive tasks, those difficult or those time consuming, low value activities. And we had our team actually raising the bar on them. We wanted the team actually using their brains, focusing on the greater challenges, the things that they actually bring to the table that the AI isn't even ready to do yet.
Yeah. You co-created the success environment with these people, which I think was fundamental. You wouldn't have had the success. You wouldn't have had the buy-in. I think you also told me in the case management that even when you started, people were saying, why isn't this thing 100%, right? You had to
Right.
keep reinforcing this, right?
We had to keep reinforcing it. And that gets into our next and one of our most important topics, which is reinforcement learning from the people. So we'll talk about that next.
Okay. I've heard from many executives that a corollary issue that a lot of the business processes that actually make companies successful are in the employees' heads, especially someone who's been around. It's not the young employees that can easily use AI. It's the people that have been around for a long time that are probably nearing the end of their career, and it's in their heads. They know how the system really works. And
Yes.
this core issue of primal knowledge is fundamental to what AI can help companies with, correct?
Correct. Yeah. One of our longtime employees here
Yeah.
keeps a spreadsheet of secret knowledge he has that customer A wants you to buy this, while customer B wants you to buy that. And it's difficult because we have to get him to share that information through an Excel spreadsheet to the rest of our sales team. And he has over 350 people that he's trying to maintain Excel spreadsheets for.
Oh my goodness. God
You
bless
know,
this gentleman.
so yeah, so that tribal knowledge is vital. So when we went into this, people always say AI projects live or die on the quality of your data. We went into this saying we know our data isn't perfect. We know that the system is not going to be 100% out of the gate. We need also not to require training of the system every day through an IT person. There's a lot of business rules and business knowledge. So we went into the focus of saying we need to be able to train the system, and it's
Yeah.
called reinforcement learning from humans. Our system is designed to learn from the interactions of the team. The team will be consistently and constantly retrain the AI. So it's not like a new release. Well, we trained the AI
Yeah.
and we ran a nightly process and it's updated. Every interaction of the tool will learn and get that tribal knowledge from our team members.
That's brilliant. You solved a couple issues here. You accelerated the pace of responding to RFPs. you getting rid of these extremely repetitive tasks, which nobody likes to do.
Nobody likes.
So you're going to make the job more interesting. And you're also, over time, teaching the system the tribal knowledge, which you need anyway. So at some point, that gentleman's going to retire, and you can't have it on a spreadsheet that's on his computer that nobody looks at for another year because they don't know it's there.
Right. Think about the way we approach this from learning from the humans is future proofing our processes by sharing knowledge. We're not saying taking the knowledge, we call it sharing because now the tool shares that information on every interaction that our team has with it. So every time a new person does an RFP, they're going to learn something new. Oh, I didn't know customer A had that answer. Oh, look, and the tool does a statistical comparison and says, we found that this is a match, but for this customer, 90% of the customer stores or restaurants want to buy this. Oh, well, then for this customer, let me make sure I got this right. So they're constantly learning from each other, improving and future proofing our company for the ability to continually give our customers what they're looking for.
That's just brilliant. And so really, you've given people some great advice here. This loop, change management, tribal knowledge, they really go hand in hand, right? The loop, it's not a one and done. It's a constant thing. All right. Well, you also mentioned in that topic, data. And let's talk about what's your main lesson on data. I love this lesson because I think it's going to help people a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, our main lesson we learned is we can't go into this trying to be perfect with our data. Everybody
Yeah.
says your data has to be 100% perfect. Well, you're never going to reach it. We're not going to
Right.
be able to clean our data in a timely fashion and get to market. One of the reasons we looked at this project was we
Yes.
needed to get to the market quickly. We partnered with a company, we brought in tools. We didn't try to build this from scratch all the way at the
Yeah.
bottom. There are some uniqueness. But if you go in saying we have to be perfect, you'll never be perfect. We went in with the lesson knowing we were going to be, what's the old saying, 80-20 rule. We're
Yeah.
going to be 80% correct. We're going to have 20% we're going to learn. And on every project, we learn something new. And that learning guides us for either the next phase, because no system is ever done. You put it on the shelf and you never touch it again. You're always going to be improving it. But then it helped us as we moved into our next projects. Our
Yes.
next one saying, okay, what did we learn? Well, we learned the data isn't going to be 100%. How do you plan for that? How do you build? And I think AI is the greatest tool for this, an adaptive system to know your data is not going to be perfect so that you have now our staff who are more engaged. They're actually, as you said it, they're learning and they're being able to be challenged. They're being challenged to say, I'm going to do the harder work. The harder work is making sure that I'm checking for the customer. I'm making sure I'm the
That's it.
quality check person. And we learned from that. And so you can't go in and that, again, that reinforcement and being able to say to people, you have a more important role now. Your role is actually to be that customer's eyes, the customer liaison. You are the customer's representative to make this system better. And we learned from that.
You touched on a lot of issues there, but the whole thing about data, everybody's talking about data readiness, and they're absolutely correct. But in large corporations like Don, we all remember the heyday of the big data projects a dozen years ago,
Right.
right? Data lakes, data oceans, all these different things. Silos, those are still issues. They're still there. And how many people have funded these huge data projects and it's like they're never ending? We all want a source of truth. What's the one truth, right?
Right.
But what you did here is you said, let's focus on this one process, right? And we know we're going to get the ROI. Those other topics that people get hung up on are bigger issues for a later day. This was a project that was designed to get results right away versus an investment in maybe fixing these data silos. That's a different issue.
Right.
And I think for this project, the concept of data doesn't need to be perfect was 100% because we know it's not going to be perfect anyways.
Well, the tribal knowledge, you and I
Yeah.
talked about it. Knowledge is in the gray matter of our team. We wanted this project to work with the team, partner with the team, to share that knowledge into the system so that we could share it out. So if we waited until we were able to document each and everything that everybody knew, They would have already moved on and learned
You would
something
have
new, and then
spent,
we'd be chasing data for the rest of our lives. The
yeah,
the
you'd be
goal was
back.
to build a system to be flexible.
So there was really
Right.
two issues. One was the issue that you talked about was the data was in people's heads and you really needed to get it out for this to succeed. And you did that. You're doing that through the interaction,
It's
right?
going to be continuous. We are not holding back. We got to market in 3 months into pilot.
That's unbelievable. The second issue is the fact that you are working with an LLM
Yes.
and you do know that it can hallucinate.
They can go off in an alternate direction. And our hope is that human interaction brings the system back naturally, organically. Now, of course, we're going to watch it. We're not going to just let
Yeah.
it live on its own. But the idea is if we have hundreds of interactions a day from somebody who's actually training the system, those forks in the road should be
Yep.
minimized. They shouldn't go down the wrong path because then a person should be saying, no, that's wrong. Bring it back. We're always going to be in this small area of where the people, the team are always going to be quality checking.
Such a huge point. So that gentleman has a spreadsheet. He really can do the same role he's been doing, but now he's
Right.
doing it with the AI.
Well, think
He's
about
getting,
how he's learning from other people too.
yes.
Everybody benefits from this because everybody is sharing in real time. And it isn't, oh, we got to go meet on Friday to have a training class. Right. And in the end, what is this about? This is about going back to what was our problem. Our problem was we were only
Yeah.
responding to 5%. This now has really engaged our customers more. They feel that we're listening to them. We're able to respond to them more. They feel that they're getting what they need from Edward Don quicker, faster, and hopefully in the end, they choose us to be their provider of choice.
Tim, this has been wonderful. Thank you for sharing the original case study for everybody. And also, let's do a quick review of the steps. Walk us through the main steps, and then we'll close it out. We'll summarize and close it out.
Yeah, not a problem. As I said earlier, Alex, we need to begin with the business issues first. Like any other project, don't begin with saying, hey, I have AI and I need to find a problem. Have your problem and then say, is AI the right choice? Set those realistic expectations. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure saying AI, but set the expectations on what you really think you can accomplish with AI today. Then look at change management. The change management is going to be really important. Communications, making sure that people understand what they're going to gain, not about what they're going to lose. Look at how can I have that human reinforcement learning, the system learning from the interactions. The system has to be adaptive, always learning. And the data really doesn't have to be perfect. If you have a system that can adapt, change, and learn from interaction, your data will flow. Of course, you have to have good data, but you don't have to have perfect data. You're going to have those hiccups. In conclusion, look at, say, how is this going to start? Always going to get us better. We're going to learn from our hiccups. We're going to learn that maybe we weren't perfect in this. And how do we take that and grow continuously and help our customers in the end?
That's a great summary. And Tim, thank you so much for doing this leadership briefing for everybody. I think you've given some sound, proven advice on how to be successful on your AI project.
Well, thank you, Alex. I'm really glad to be able to share with everybody and everybody good luck.